Shopology is how one agency claims to be breaking the code and getting to grips with how people really shop. As retail products increasingly fight for shelf space, it's important to understand how we think once we're actually inside the store. Two experts in this field are Carolyn White and Ferns from the Mortimer Harvey agency. Carolyn, first question to you then. Give us a broad definition, Shopology. What are we talking about?
Shopology, Jeremy, is basically understanding the psychology that a shopper is once they're moving into an in-store environment. As a consumer moves into the shopping environment, they move into a certain psychology in which they start purchasing brands. So the choices that they often make are irrational, things are not often on a list, and that's what we refer to as the psychology of their buying behavior in store.
So, Ferns, when I walk into a store, how does my mind or how does my psychology actually change?
Well, immediately you go from being a consumer and you understand what brand you want to buy. But the minute you move into an environment that's this busy, your mind starts to deselect and deselect. And the more busy the environment is, the harder it gets for you to actually remember what you want to purchase. So you go into your own little mini price war, or you start to go and think, right, I need to get something off my list.
Carolyn, as we explore this topic then, why have we chosen the chocolate aisle?
We've chosen this specifically because I think at this time of the year, which is a very busy festive period for retailers, there's a lot of focus on indulgence, treating yourself and gearing up towards the end of the year. It's a category that is often very cluttered. There's a lot of shopper confusion. There's a plethora of different brands, and I think shoppers are not often certain which brands to purchase, which variant sizes to bulk up for the festive season. So we thought this would be an interesting category based on just the number of brands as well as how things are merchandised.
Okay, let's refer to some of these brands then that we've got. Tex, Rolo, Crisp, Bar One, Quality Street. We know all of them. What are they doing and how are they competing with each other?
When you don't have a lot of communication, the one communication you do have is your brand strength, you have your packaging, and that's why I think packaging has always formed a big foundation of what shopper marketing is how your brand starts to communicate itself. Does the pack tell you what you're going to get? What type of experience am I going to get? What solution? Do I believe what the brand is telling me? And invariably a shopper would walk down this aisle and choose based off that. For example, if we look at it across the various brands that are sitting in the mid shelves are probably the ones popular that shoppers buy into or have a reason to believe in.
So you talk about the brand experience that these particular goods are giving us. What exactly are you talking about? It's simply a little bit of delight and putting on some weight, surely.
Definitely, but I think that's why for me, looking at where the retailers are now, a lot of brands are taking their product off shelf and moving it into destination aisles, because purchasing chocolates is generally an indulgence and a treat. So it's important to reach shoppers when they're impulse purchasing and not necessarily at category. So what's interesting for me, even being outside of the chocolate aisle, is how many shoppers are actually purchasing on freestanding units, which is related back to the festive Christmas season and various other indulgent treats. What shoppers often look at is line architecture, packaging, and things that generally jump out at shelf. But we all know in the chocolate category, often shoppers have a definite favorite or a certain brand that they're already going for.
So how difficult is it then to tap into this shopper confusion that we've been talking about?
I think it gets very difficult. I think as the stores get bigger and as brands start to add more variety to their own brand line, it gets a lot harder for a shopper to act physically choose. That's why it starts to become so important for them to pull it off shelf and to move it around the retail environment to give people more a solution of why you need to use this particular product or why this product works best with something.
Explain that to me, Brian. So you've got two different products competing for the same experience. What exactly are you doing? You're putting them together with what in mind?
For example, if I was going to have a braai occasion, I would know that my soda pop and my meat and my crisps would immediately create an occasion. So, but maybe pulling those off shelf and creating an occasion shopping mission where people can actually purchase a product and say, right, I'm now focused around a braai, I'm focusing around a Christmas time. Right. Then your chances of selling more product per basket is going to increase.
Now that's predicated on the fact that the brands themselves are cooperating, or is that done simply at store level, or ideally both?
I would say it's a combination. A big trend we're seeing at the moment is retailer collaboration and developing strong retail and promotional calendars with brands. So as Brian mentioned, when you have an occasion you can leverage off, whether it's back to school, whether it's winter festivities, it's important that brands actually align with what retailers are doing to maximize the occasion. I think it also allows brands from a certain stable to market or provide joint marketing activities where they can promote their same brand objectives. It allows shoppers to increase their basket size, and at the end of the day, we know that shoppers are looking for solutions in store.
Both of you have used the word deselection on a couple of occasions. I don't understand. What are we talking about?
When you walk into a shopping environment and a retail environment, you pretty much have an idea in your mind of what you want to actually purchase. It could be based off your shopping list, things that you designed that you needed to. It could be because I love the product and this is what I've come to purchase, or I've run out at home and I need to top up. But as you move through the environment, you start to deselect as you look for your product. Hence why disruptive innovation within the shopping environment is starting to become quite a key science in how people play in the retail environment. Is it allows people to say, right, I understand you thinking that way, I understand you deselecting me out until you get to your chosen product, I want to give you a better reason to choose me. And that's when the science of shopper marketing really starts to get very interesting and very complicated.
But Carolyn, surely it's ultimately about being creative.
Jeremy, it's interesting you say that, because for us, one of the biggest things we look at in shopper marketing is visual communication cues. I think in the shopper environment, words count less than visual impact. So it's so important within the shopper psychology of understanding what your brand's trying to say and the best visual message you can do that. Shoppers literally have 5 seconds that they're moving through store, so they don't have a lot of time to process communication. And that's why it's so important that brands and agencies take brand communication and translate it into shopper messaging and a visual language that demonstrates your brand benefit and why to choose the product.
Very interestingly is the navigation around the store. I arrive here, is there a set pattern about the way in which the consumer conducts the shopping experience?
Jeremy, I think it's definitely true. We call it the shopper racetrack. It's how the shopper moves around the store. When it's a routine purchase and people are used to coming to a certain shopping environment, they automatically know that they would turn left, get their basket, and start moving around the store in a snake pattern. With planned items on a list, people generally know where, for example, detergents are. They would know where canned items are. So if your product is specifically on a routine purchasing list, sometimes it can be very important to actually take your product out of category and create impulse zones.
All right, Brian, final question to you then. I've filled my trolley, I've gone to the cash point, I've paid. Hopefully it's been a comfortable experience. I'm now going to buy clothing. I'm going to a different store. Does my psychology actually change?
Well, it's changing drastically. You're moving in from, I'm buying from a convenience goods into something I need to treat myself. So immediately it's a reward system. So I start to understand my shopper journey slightly different. I'm getting maybe excited about it because maybe my shopping in a retail environment for food is more I have to do, as opposed to my clothes shopping is something I really, really want to do. It's also a place that allows me to experience a brand totally different. So the clothes guys and the makeup people have really, really done it well. They allow you, they invite you into a space and they say, come experience us, come indulge in us. And that shopping experience then becomes a total different psychology because it becomes a psychology that's based off how you're making me feel.
Coming up.
People come to us partly because we're fast.